Hey, how's it going? It's Walsh here, sick as always. Welcome to episode 19 of the Secrets of the Atlas League here on Ruthless SSF. It feels so good to be a champion. I can't remember the last time I played a Cycloner, and I'm pretty sure I've never even looked at the transfigured version of Cyclone. So it feels really nice to go from playing a couple of trappers, a miner, and a bow character to a genuine Cyclone champion. Anyway, I hope you enjoy the video, and I'll see you near the end. I had a safe house, so I ran that really quickly. I did die once, but generally it was pretty safe. I just face tanked stuff that I shouldn't have. I got a pretty decent cold cluster jewel, and wouldn't you know it, I randomly actually found an upgrade for my weapon. I went from like 520 DPS to like 600 and something, which is incredible. And that axe is just begging for an exalt. I do kind of wish I didn't waste that exalt on that helmet earlier, but to be honest, I really needed that helmet to be better, so it was worth the gamble. But yeah, we're definitely looking for an exalt. I got a Alpha Temple on my champion. Unfortunately, there was nothing good in it. It was basically just an XP temple to level my character up. But I did get a +1 cold amulet, which wasn't a very good roll, but anytime you can get +1 gems on anything, it just feels really nice. So I changed my first Atlas tree. I grabbed some altar stuff. I'm getting closer to the point where I can start wearing the gear for my or I almost said Berserker, my champion here. I was wrong. It's only level 84 for the armor, not 87, so that's awesome. Obviously, this isn't like a god tier armor or anything like that, but having that tier 1 hybrid is pretty ridiculous because remember, we are going iron reflexes, so all that evasion just becomes armor, which, still, it's not an insane armor, but for Ruthless, it's a pretty solid 5 link. And of course, we have this helmet as well, which is also hybrid, which is fantastic for us. And more importantly, it has that intelligence on it, which is huge because I'm struggling with intelligence. What I'm going to do right now, you just saw that I changed my tree to get some altar stuff. I'm going to farm to try to get some, currency to get implicits on this, the Searing Exarch and the Eater of Worlds. Get that stuff for a little bit. I'll probably farm it for an hour or two. It really kind of depends on how long it takes me to get some. But I'm not going to farm until I get the perfect mods, because that's going to take way too long, and I really just want to play that character. I'm not sure what's going on here, but for this entire map, everything was just being taunted by my skitter bots. I've never really seen them do that before. I don't know what's going on with that. Maybe it's some kind of bug with Ritual. But anyway, the very first time I start doing Ritual, and I get an Omen of the Jeweler. Now, granted, it's obviously not an Omen of Connections, but I am not complaining. I've had it block this entire league, so just to get it immediately feels awesome. I was kind of tempted to use it on my axe, but it feels kind of like a waste because I don't really need 6 sockets on it anyway. I got an insane wand here. Unfortunately, it rolled cold damage instead of lightning damage, but whatever. And I think it was my third pirate, maybe my fourth, but he finally dropped the gloves, and the roll, absolutely disgusting. Perfect attack speed, +3 gems. Honestly, I could not ask for anything better. I'm also 2 mercenaries away from finishing the challenge, which is always pretty cool. But yeah, those gloves, I'm pretty happy about those. Not only is that going to give me a bunch of damage, but now I can drop damage on my tree possibly, and then focus on getting more survivability. Took down my first Elder, and we actually got a jewel on the first one. It's probably going to be trash, but I mean, getting a jewel is pretty sick. I'm gonna ID the rares first because I'm toxic, because why not? All garbage, cool. I was gonna say it's a dog shit jewel, but you know what? Getting the flash charge one actually might convince me to roll another flash finder this league. I was already really tempted to make one because I just want a really zoomy map farmer for tier 5s or whatever. So now that I have that jewel, there's a pretty good chance I make one. Went for a recombiner here, try to combine 2 really good dot rolls. Unfortunately, it died. If that would have hit, I almost certainly would have played a cold dot character this league. But now, no idea. I did decide to use my Shrine Scarabs. They dropped absolutely nothing, so I did it again. And in the second map, I did get Elder Guardian. And of course, we got this really juicy essence here. We still have not gotten a good Wrath one, but I mean, at least I got a Wrath essence there. It was a pretty low tier, but whatever. This time, the bosses from the shrines actually dropped 2 Elder Guardian maps, which is fantastic, because right now I'm trying to witness them all, that way I can do the invitation, get 1 more skill point, and hopefully get some good influence gear. It's still pretty amazing to me just how good my single target DPS is on this character. You gotta remember, my weapon is absolute trash, I'm sure I've said it many times, but on top of that, I'm only on a 5 link. So I can't even imagine what my DPS would be on a 6 link and with a better weapon, because even right now it feels very good. Got some more Elder Guardians taken down. Unfortunately, didn't drop anything. But what's really nice about King's March going core is even when you get all these trash influence items, which you will get a lot of, now you can just throw them inside of your dust guy and disenchanter or whatever, and just get a bunch of free dust. Which, if you don't know, dust is pretty critical to making your shipments better. I went and entered the Elder Guardian invitation, and my first death, of course, was to the server. But after that, we took it down, no problem. Didn't really get anything too crazy, but just getting the skill point is good. And we got 3 Maven fragments, which is great, because that's almost half. Which, if you've never played Ruthless, farming them can be pretty toxic. I think it's very unlikely this character can do Maven, but I might just try it anyway, just for, like, I don't mind failing bosses, because it's like, it gives you the experience of like, alright, if I ever roll this character again in the future, I'll know what it actually takes for that character to do it. Because the reality is, most people that do Maven and stuff like that, they don't cheese it in the sense of like they exploit or anything. Most people beat it by cheesing it in the sense that they have so much damage they can ignore all mechanics. And there's nothing wrong with that. It's just when you don't have the ability to do that and you actually have to survive, it's pretty brutal. Anyway, though, I tried to do that Val Temple. I wasn't even close. It was way too hard. I kept dying every time I went in there, so I abandoned after like the second death. I got a second gold rim, and it also rolled 40 all res, so I'm probably just going to give that to someone on trade. I rolled a disgusting steel ring with 100 freaking res on it. I desperately need an exalt, not only for my axe, but for that ring. Oh, hey, unique map. But yeah, I definitely need an exalt. If I can just get life on that ring, even like tier 5 life, I would be in heaven. I really just wanted to go back to my champion, so I stopped farming for the currency for a little while. I really just need to get some levels. So I did put the gloves on, and they gave me a ridiculous amount of damage, obviously. Got an offering to the goddess, and a nice little scattering report. At some point, I'd like to save up a bunch of them again, and just, like, you know, run some more Kirax, try to get some, like, free essence or whatever. I did get an Untainted Paradise. Unfortunately, it was in a tier 1. But I figured I'd try it out. I figured I'm low enough level, it still might matter. It did give me a decent amount of XP. It wasn't crazy. Obviously, it's a tier 1. But it was still pretty nice. I hit level 78, so I could finally put my helmet on. Oh my god, I have armor. It's so beautiful. And of course, we get to put on the Perseverance now, which is fantastic. Onslaught is just going to give me permanent attack speed. Obviously, on Ruthless, it doesn't give you movement speed, but, I mean, attack speed on Cyclone is, like, the most important thing. I did use a bunch of jewelers on my axe, and I did 6-socket it. I might at some point try using that rune that gives you increased damage for every unlinked socket in your main weapon. It has to be a two-hander, of course, which we obviously have. I don't know if I'll bother with it, though, because my damage is already amazing. Anyway, I got my Uber Lab done, which means now I can get Adrenaline, get the Life Mastery eventually, so I counted low life at 55%, which is fantastic. If you've never used Adrenaline before, it's pretty hilarious. Obviously, it's not going to trigger all the time, but when it does, it feels incredible. I got a singular Scattering Report, which gave me a Putrid Cloister. I wasn't sure if I wanted to run it as a tier 1 or tier 16, but I figured the Trickster would have no problem either way, so I ran it as a tier 16. And yeah, it was pretty easy. I always forget, because it's like so long since I see this map, I always forget that it only drops gems now. For some reason, I always think it drops maps. So finally, after I re-roll, obviously, I drop the Trap and Mine Cluster Jewel, which obviously is still very good for me because I definitely want to play my Trickster more and possibly other characters in the future. So I deleted all of my money. And I mean all of it. I just can't stand saving, like, currency. I almost kept this one, but, like, it doesn't help my Trickster at all. And yeah, Arcane Surge is cool and all, but, like, it's not that incredible for me. But anyway, wasted all my money, got nothing. I mean, what'd you expect? We're now doing between tier 11 and tier 12 on the champion. I could probably do higher, but, like, it just feels good doing some of my lower tier maps, just saving up. And time to double crop my belts. And it died. Whatever. I mean, I still have my spare, so that's fine. It would have been awesome to get some implicits on it, but whatever. It is kind of sad, though, because my other belt doesn't have a perfect life rule, so I do lose a little bit of life, but it could be worse. I'm not even sure if I'm going to use this belt for my endgame, but we'll see. Got a little swap for triads, can't complain about that. And another red Kirak mission. You can never have enough Kirak, man. Trust me. Hey, if you made this far in the video, I just want to say thank you so much for watching. I really do appreciate it. I am level 79, 79% of the way to level 80. It feels so good to be a champion. I'm having a great time. So far, the character feels amazing. You know, I obviously have a really good unique on, well, two good uniques on. It's pretty funny that we actually dropped a weapon upgrade for this character. If I ever get an exalted, as much as I want to exalt the ring, I'm almost certainly going to do it to this axe because look at it. I mean, if I got like attack speed or just like hybrid flat fizz, I don't even know what I would do. But yeah, loving this character. Obviously, I'll feel a lot better once I hit level 84, which is, you know, basically 4 levels away because I'm almost level 80. I mean, my body armor right now isn't like the worst thing in the world for Ruthless. It's like, I mean, what do you expect, dude? It's pretty bad, but once I get this, my armor is probably going to jump up to I don't even know how high. But like just the fact that I have 11k right now feels really good, considering how bad a lot of my like well, I don't want to say a lot of my gear, pretty much just my boots and my body armor. But yeah, gear is pretty great. I'm loving this helmet. It's pretty perfect for me right now. Obviously, I still need to, you know, change the implicits or whatever. My jewelry isn't like phenomenal, but it's also not terrible, so I'm not too worried about that. I'm like really tempted to use this ring. The problem is my health pool is already pretty low, so like giving up even like look, yeah, look at that. I don't really know if I want to give it up for that, especially since I'm not struggling with resistance anyway. I mean, it might change when I switch to this, but I don't know. I can always just get it on the tree. So we finished another week of Ruthless. Just to give you a quick recap of what's been going on. Almost at 400 red maps completed, which is pretty nice. It's cool that I'm staying out of yellow. Like, I'm pretty much like every reroll so far, I've done like maybe, you know, 30, 40 minutes of yellow maps, then going to red maps, which feels really good. My economy is pretty brutal. I just want to say one thing though, because I do get some people ask me why I don't save up like a ton of alks or whatever. I blame StarCraft. Anytime I'm sitting there with like a bunch of currency just in my stash doing nothing, it feels bad. Like it feels like I'm doing something wrong, like I'm playing incorrectly. I would rather constantly use all my alks and chaos, desperately trying to craft random stuff for random builds I may or may not ever even get to play. I don't know why, it just feels so much better. Like if I was sitting here right now with like 20 alks and 30 chaos, I would feel sad. I don't know, it's just, it doesn't work for me. I don't like it. Anyway, though, my Essence tab is looking pretty good. Obviously, we're still struggling to get the Wrath. But it's not that bad now that I'm rerolled. I did change my trees just a little bit. So for this third tree, I mainly use this for tier 14 plus, but I'm using it on this character because he's pretty tanky, especially with like Adrenaline and Fortify, because it does have a lot of essence stuff. I did turn off Crystal Resonance just because it makes some bosses really rippy. I haven't necessarily died to any of them yet, but I kind of just want to focus on leveling to 84 and not really taking too many risks. I want to wear my 5 link. But yeah, this tree is pretty straightforward. You know, I've got the essence stuff. I've got the Calgur stuff just to get more, I almost said ingots. But yeah, basically getting ore for ingots. And my main tree, I am still spec'd into the Eldritch stuff to try to get more currency. Obviously, in reality, you shouldn't have both of these spec'd at the same time because you can just respec it and do one at a time. But I'm just kind of lazy, so I don't really care. Eventually, once I'm done, I'm going to go back to having Harbinger on this tree. I did mess with this tree a little bit, but I'm going to change it back. I did drop strong boxes, but actually I kind of like having them even now. Yeah, I'm not necessarily looking for support gems, but they still really help with getting like auras and stuff like that and currency. So I'm definitely going to put that back on there. I was using the blight stuff for a little while, but I don't know, it just doesn't really feel that necessary. This tree also has a bunch of essence stuff. I'll probably, now that I have like 2 trees with essence on it, I'll probably drop all the essence on this tree and use this just for like whenever I make my low tier map farmer, which I'm gonna make. I want to make a flask finder. Like, how could I not? Hold on. Where's that jewel? How could I not? Like, look at this jewel. Obviously, it's not incredible. The discipline thing is just straight up dead. But in Ruthless, where it's very difficult to have permaflask, this helps so much. Like, if you look back to the Lost Ascendance League, I was pretty much permaflask already. And with this, it'll be so much easier. So I'd really like to make that. So the Crackling Lance Hierophant is basically the only reason I had an economy. It jump-started everything, got me my watchstones. This character took me to the next level. This build is awesome. I love Power Siphon Mines. The Locust Mine are kind of buggy on some specific maps, but other than that, it's really fun to use. But yeah, I really love this character. I don't know how like viable this build is without Fury Valve. I have no idea. At some point, I'm gonna take it off and just run some maps to see what it feels like. Obviously, you'd probably have to change stuff on your tree to make it work or whatever. But I don't know. I'm just curious to see what it's like. But yeah, dropping Fury Valve was really cool. I've never had one before, so I'm really glad I got to have this opportunity to use it. So now in the future, if I do see one, I know what it can do. But yeah, love this character. If you're ever in a position to play it, highly recommend it. Dark Ray Vectors is stupid. Having 8 Frenzy charges is hilarious. Love this character. It's awesome. Play it. I'm only one fragment away from Uber Elder, and I'm really on the fence if I want to try it with this character. I think if I got a better wand, I would definitely give it a try. But like my biggest fear is having 0 regen for the Uber Elder fight is pretty brutal because there's just so much stuff going on. You're just going to get chipped away so fast. And if you get chipped a little bit and don't go to full life, so many things could just one-shot me. So I'm not really sure. I might just try it anyway, just for, just for science, basically. Like I said earlier, it doesn't really bother me when I fail bosses. It's kind of like one of those secret beauties about Ruthless. Like, I just love it so much because back in the day, when I was playing Bench League, all these bosses were just like a joke. You just delete all of them. It doesn't really matter. Like, I played some hardcore garbage, and it didn't matter because on Bench League, it's pretty easy to get damage. So it kind of, in a way, feels good to fail them, because then when you do succeed, it just feels so much better. But yeah, I think I might just end up trying it, because like there's pros and cons. The con is obviously I have no regen, which is pretty terrifying. Might change my tree a little bit, maybe, drop some damage to make that a little better. I don't know, we'll see. But the pro is I can actually kill pretty much everything on the screen, so I might be able to prevent all the like black goo on the ground, because I can kill the little eye guys before they make it. I'm not saying I could do that perfectly, but I think there's a real chance this character could do it. And the biggest positive is I'm a Trickster, which means I don't have to worry about the Elder's bullshit attack that slows you so much that you die. And remember, I don't use Quickstep because when Ruthless first came out, one of the biggest gimmicks with it was there are no movement skills, so you had to find a way to beat these bosses without it. I know they added it because a lot of people complained about it. I really wish they didn't, but at the same time, I think it's fine because like as a player, I have a choice to not use it. So that's what makes like stuff like Trickster and Juggernaut so good potentially at Uber Elder, because you don't have to worry about that slow, because once you get stuck in it, it's pretty hard to get out. Anyway, my plan for this coming week, I'm going to just work on that champion, level him up. It would be really cool if that character could end up being incredibly tanky, because like I just POB'd to like level 84 or whatever, because that's when I could wear the body armor, which at first I thought was 87, but it was 84. And I'm going to be honest with you, the damage is looking pretty ridiculous, and the damage I'm looking at doesn't have a curse on, it doesn't have blood rage on or anything like that. I'm not like doing any of that cheap stuff to make it look better than it is. So I'm pretty excited to see how that character actually turns out in practice. But other than that, at some point I'm going to make a flask finder, because some days after long grind sessions or, long days of pushing for XP, it feels really good just to go into white maps, fly around at lightning speed and kill everything. So expect to see that. I'm not sure if it'll come this week or next week, but we're also still trying to craft some of those, swords and some specific weapons. A couple of uniques we're looking for. We're still missing, Herald of Purity, Pride, Wrath. I'm still sad about that Wrath I lost when I died. But yeah, anyway, I hope you enjoyed this week. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you Monday.